Alright everyone, welcome back to Just Cosplays, and right now we're going to be playing one of my favorites from back in the day called Wario Land Super Mario Land 3. It's the first and pretty much the game that said, hey, let's give Wario a game, because I guess he had more wiggle room than Mario. Because Mario was such a happy-go-lucky guy that we needed somebody else, a kind of dude who don't give a crap about anybody else except himself. I love that opening. And then that's the only time you'll see him in that cap of his, because then he gets rid of it and uses this new thing. The miner's hat, I guess you could call it. But, yeah, let's get started, shall we? So the plot of Wario Land is actually a little bit more confusing, I guess you could say. Well, not really confusing, but it's a little... I almost want to say it's a little bit more vaguer than the other Mario games, only because we don't really kind of know what's going on. I mean, I think there's like a statue of Princess Peach that has been stolen, and Wario is on his way to claim it for himself. So yeah, this is kind of the first time we get an introduction to Wario. He's definitely stronger than Mario, only because you don't actually get hurt by enemies unless they have like something like that, where the spear guy's got the spear in front of him. But other than that, he has already an awesome attack power. So. Yeah, and one of the reasons why I really enjoy Wario more than some of the other Mario stuff. Only because he don't give no fuck about anybody. I don't know, there's just something about playing a dude who's, I guess you could say, anti-hero. But, oh shit. Am I as good at this game? I would like to think so, but we'll see how this goes, because this game is actually a lot longer than Super Mario Land 2, so I actually don't even think I'll be able to do this entire game in one setting, like I was able to the last few Game Boy games, and I don't even know if I'll continue this one, depending on how well this goes, but, yeah, so... I think this was the... no, this was the third game that I owned on the Game Boy, because I think, yeah, because by the time my brother and I started playing the Game Boy, we were already past Mario and everything, and so I think it was, no, you know what, it was, I can't tell if that guy's wearing sunglasses or double eye patches, because neither would surprise me, honestly. But, actually, I lie. The first game that we actually owned, the second game that we actually owned was Mortal Kombat, of all things, because my brother was big on fighting, so he wanted to have like the closest thing he could get to a fighting game, which was Mortal Kombat, even if it was for Game Boy and it was terrible. But because that game, it was funny because like you had the first game, which was completely, they were trying to like duplicate the whole game. So they did. They actually remade the entirety of Mortal Kombat, and they kept like, and there's like a lot of frame skips, so it's a really bad version of the game because everything moves incredibly slowly. Your character, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You just kind of need to see how terrible it was. And they couldn't include all the characters because, you know, Game Boy limitations and everything. And then the second game, that one was a little better because I think they worked more with the, oh shit. They worked more with the Game Boy limitations, and so that game, it runs faster, but that's kind of one of those, is it better than the other game? I guess. I mean, I don't know. Mortal Kombat just isn't Mortal Kombat without without all the blood and all the blood and gore. It's like saying, you know, I want to watch a movie of 300 without any bloodshed or violence. Because I find the Battle of Thermopylae so interesting, and I know that 300 is such a historically accurate movie that it's going to give me everything that I need to write my history report on. I don't know why that came into my head, but... but yeah. Back to, I guess, the Game Boy. Since we only used to have only one Game Boy, it was quite the uphill battle with me and my brother because, you know, both of us wanted to play, and then, you know, whenever you guys are forced to share any kind of games like that, like, and when you're forced to share, like, things like that where like a character, where, okay, what am I saying? So whenever you're like forced to share, but like forced to share, and like people get like their fair turn at playing, yeah, it's sometimes not gonna work. And I've never seen that sprite because I've never gotten up to the end of a level with no coins. But I swear I usually am better at this than before. But ugh. I mean, at least at that old daycare that I had, they had like a little egg timer that would say whenever our turns were up because we've been playing for too long, and like, oh, I forgot about this. I can't just hold a. Never mind. All right, but yeah, at least they had like kind of an egg timer that says that all right, someone else's turn, despite the fact that we only got 10 minutes per play. I stress that you cannot get anywhere in 10 minutes, which is the reason why these episodes are only 10 minutes long. So that way, I can show you exactly how long 10 minutes goes. And also makes it seem cooler if I can get that far in that certain amount of time. Trying to think if there's anything else that I needed to stress about the Game Boy. But yeah, you know, when you only have one game, when you only have like one Game Boy between two brothers who like to play it a lot, that's always gonna lead to problems, because no matter how you guys try to gauge your time, you always get to the, okay, we'll do it on, you know, certain lives, or we'll do it on certain, you know, like, if you die, that means that, you know, then it goes to the next person, but then it's like, oh, wait, no, that doesn't, then you inevitably get to the, oh no, that life didn't count, or that one didn't count, I wasn't playing it right. So, we were both guilty of that. It wasn't until the Pocket Game Boy that my brother and I were finally able to, we're finally able to kind of like play at our own leisure. And then came Pokemon, and that just spelled disaster because then we only had one Pokemon game between the two of us, and dear God, try figure out how you can share between that. Because then, especially the fact that my brother liked Pokemon a lot more than I did at first. So he played the game a lot more than I did. Then, so when it got to that point of like, oh, I can start, like, you know, the battles with like the Elite Four or whatever. Like, oh, how are you gonna, like, you know, it's like. So in other words, he was already like past like several of the gym leaders, and meanwhile, you know, I had what I like to call the grass is always greener syndrome, because I always thought that, like, oh, you know, if he's playing it, that must mean it has to be better than my version of the game. So I naturally really wanted to have my own version of Pokemon, because I wanted to show that I could do whatever it is that he wanted. But, you know, it was just kind of funny, because then the first time he allows me to play the game, I see, like, you know, I knew the basic concept of Pokemon, so I could kind of play without, you know, totally screwing up. But the thing I didn't know was Pokeballs. And I do mean that this actually is like, and if, you know, if you're a fan of Pokemon, you kind of can tell where this story is going. So, I see that I run into my first Pokemon ever, and it was a Rattata. And I'll never forget this, because I didn't know you're supposed to weaken Pokemon at first. I thought you were just supposed to throw balls at it. So my brother had tons of Pokeballs and whatnot, and like Great Balls, so he had like 5, I think. He had 5 other balls, except this other one down at the bottom called the Master Ball. I didn't know what that was. So, being a dumbass, I ended up deciding to use that. And I used it on the Rattata. The look on my brother's face when he found out that I just wasted his Master Ball, which could, mind you, take care of it. There we go. which, mind you, could take care of any Pokemon, and you can catch it at your free will without missing, without having to weaken it or whatever. I used it on a level 12 Rattata. I think he wanted to murder me that day, but I can't be sure. And here's the kicker, though. I can't remember if I saved the game after I caught that Rattata. I'm hoping that I didn't, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't remember, so there's maybe a good chance that I didn't. And if that's the case, then, yeah, I still kind of regret that. So, yep. Hope you guys enjoyed that Pokemon story when I could be talking about Wario Land, but you know what? Wario Land is just sort of like, I almost want to say it's kind of like self-explanatory what's going on here. These guys are actually even worse than Thwomps because they're insta-kill instead of the Thwomps that are just like, oh yeah, we'll just hurt you. There's Frankenstein monstrosities. But, oh, fuck me. Totally meant to do that. Now... Oh, shit. Yeah, that was gonna happen. Yeah. And we're back. Okay, so... Sorry about that. And that happened again. Oh my god, what is with me? I'm usually so much better at this. Stupid crap. Oh god, please let that be. Power up. Oh, thank god. Yeah, it's been a while since I played this. This isn't one of those I was better at this game, because actually this game took me a while before I was actually able to successfully beat it for the first time by myself. A couple bosses actually gave me a real run for my money, I guess you could say, because they were a little more intimidating than some of the other bosses in this game. In fact, actually, the first boss I actually did have a lot of trouble with because I wasn't prepared for what I was to expect. So this turtle thing actually really did give me a lot of grief because I didn't know how you're supposed to beat him. But actually, I didn't realize this until much later that you could actually either attack him from above or below. And there we go. There we go. Okay, good. Alright, so, there we are. First world cleared. So, I don't know, because there's actually way more secrets in this game than there were in, Mario Land 2. So, we'll see about that. So, yeah, so, we'll call this an episode, and I will see you guys next time.